Here are the darkest secrets of the CIA. Back in the mid-20th century, a time when the world was a battlefield of ideologies, the CIA engaged in operations that remain shrouded in controversy. From mind control experiments to orchestrating coups, the agency's covert actions raised chilling questions. Why? Let's delve into that. Number 1. MKUltra. A descent into mind control 1953 to 1973. LSD experiments. In the shadowy corridors of the Cold War, the CIA embarked on a chilling journey into the human mind. MKUltra, their top-secret program, sought to unlock the secrets of mind control. One of the most notorious aspects of this project was the use of LSD. Unsuspecting civilians were dosed with this potent hallucinogen, often without their consent, as the agency sought to understand its potential for manipulation. Imagine the horror of everyday people suddenly thrust into nightmarish trips, their minds unraveling under the weight of powerful drugs. These experiments left a trail of broken lives and shattered psyches, their scars hidden but enduring. Project Artichoke. Project Artichoke was another dark chapter in MKUltra's twisted saga. This sub-project delved into even more sinister realms, exploring hypnosis, electroshock, and other techniques aimed at erasing and implanting memories. The ultimate goal: to create programmable assassins who could carry out covert operations with no recollection of their missions. The idea of using these methods against foreign leaders wasn't mere speculation. Documents reveal it was a genuine consideration. The ethical boundaries were not just blurred but obliterated, as the CIA toyed with the very essence of human autonomy: the uninformed consent. One of the most egregious aspects of MKUltra was the complete disregard for informed consent. Many victims were patients in hospitals, prisoners, or even CIA employees, all unwitting guinea pigs in these diabolical experiments. The sheer violation of human rights is staggering, painting a bleak picture of an agency willing to sacrifice individual freedoms for nebulous gains. The cloak of secrecy surrounding these operations only deepens the sense of betrayal felt by those used and discarded by their own government. Lingering scars. The long-term psychological damage inflicted by MKUltra is a haunting legacy. The destruction of most MKUltra documents by the CIA means the full extent of its impact may never be known. However, the fragments that do exist tell a story of profound suffering and enduring trauma. Survivors have spoken out, their lives forever altered by the horrors they endured. The specter of MKUltra looms large over the CIA, a grim reminder of the dark paths taken in the name of national security. Number 2. Iranian coup d'etat. Ousting a democracy for oil 1953. Operation Tipa-Jax. In 1953, the CIA orchestrated one of its most infamous coups, toppling the democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh of Iran. Dubbed Operation Tipa-Jax, this covert action was fueled by fears that Mossadegh's plans to nationalize the oil industry would diminish Western control. Bribery, propaganda, and orchestrated riots were tools in the CIA's arsenal, turning the tide against a leader who had popular support. The overthrow of Mossadegh marked a dark moment in the history of US-Iran relations, sowing seeds of distrust and resentment. Shah's repressive rule. The success of Operation Tipa-Jax paved the way for the installation of the Shah, a ruler whose reign was marked by brutal repression. Under his regime, dissent was crushed with an iron fist, and the secret police, SAVAK, became synonymous with torture and terror. The heavy-handed tactics employed to maintain control only deepened the divide between the Iranian people and their government, setting the stage for future upheaval. The Shah's repressive rule left an indelible mark on Iran, a legacy of fear and resistance. Blowback. And the consequences of the 1953 coup echo through history, contributing to the complex and often hostile relationship between the US and Iran. The toppling of a democratically elected government in favor of a dictator fueled anti-American sentiment, which exploded in the 1979 Iranian Revolution. The revolution saw the overthrow of the Shah and the establishment of the Islamic Republic, a profound shift that continues to shape the geopolitical landscape. The shadow of Tipa-Jax looms large, a testament to the far-reaching impact of covert intervention. CIA admissions. For decades, the CIA's involvement in the Iranian coup was shrouded in secrecy and denial. However, the release of declassified documents in recent years has confirmed the agency's pivotal role. These revelations have sparked renewed debate about the ethics and consequences of covert actions. The acknowledgement of the CIA's hand in the coup has further tarnished the US's image as a promoter of democracy, highlighting the stark contradictions in its foreign policy. The Iranian coup remains a sobering reminder of the perils of interventionism. Number 3. Assassination attempts. A line crossed multiple instances. Guatemala, 1954. In Guatemala, 1954, the CIA orchestrated another coup, this time against President Jacobo Arbenz. Arbenz's land reforms, which threatened the interests of the United Fruit Company, a major American corporation, were deemed unacceptable. The CIA supported a rebel force led by Carlos Castillo Armas, providing arms and training. The coup succeeded and Arbenz was ousted, plunging Guatemala into decades of instability and violence. The operation showcased the CIA's willingness to topple governments perceived as threats to American business interests, regardless of the human cost. Congo, 1961. The Congo in 1961 witnessed one of the CIA's most controversial plots. Patrice Lumumba, the democratically elected prime minister, was viewed as a potential ally of the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The agency devised a plan to assassinate Lumumba, even providing his enemies with poison. While the direct CIA involvement in his death remains debated, Lumumba was ultimately executed by a firing squad. His assassination plunged the Congo into chaos, with a legacy of strife and suffering that persists. This dark chapter highlights the extremes to which the CIA was willing to go in its geopolitical chess game. Fidel Castro. The CIA's obsession with eliminating Fidel Castro is legendary. Over the years, they hatched numerous plots to assassinate the Cuban leader, ranging from the bizarre to the outright deadly. Exploding cigars, poisoned diving suits, and even an attempt to undermine his public image with LSD-laced broadcasts were all part of the agency's efforts. Despite these elaborate schemes, Castro survived, becoming a symbol of resistance against American imperialism. The repeated failures to kill Castro underscored the limits of covert action and the resilience of those who stood against it. Lingering implications. The legacy of these assassination attempts is complex and troubling. Each failed plot not only left a trail of destruction, but also raised ethical and legal questions about the role of the CIA in global affairs. The willingness to resort to assassination as a tool of foreign policy cast a long shadow over the agency, fueling mistrust and resentment. These actions revealed a darker side of American interventionism, one that prioritized strategic objectives over moral considerations. The lingering implications of these operations continue to resonate, shaping perceptions of the CIA's role in the world. Number 4. Church Committee Hearings. Unearthing the Truth, 1975. Public outcry. Boo! The revelations of MKUltra and other covert operations ignited a firestorm of public outrage in the 1970s. The American people, long kept in the dark about the darker machinations of their government, demanded answers. This groundswell of anger and disillusionment led to the formation of the Church Committee, a Senate Select Committee tasked with investigating the CIA's abuses. The hearings were a watershed moment, peeling back the layers of secrecy that had shrouded the agency's actions. Exposure of abuses. The Church Committee's hearings brought to light a litany of abuses that shocked the nation. From domestic spying to assassination plots, the extent of the CIA's overreach was laid bare. These revelations not only exposed the agency's transgressions, but also highlighted the lack of oversight that had allowed such actions to occur unchecked. The hearings were a pivotal moment in the quest for accountability, shining a harsh light on the dark corners of American intelligence operations. Lingering distrust. Despite the reforms that followed, the Church Committee hearings left a lasting stain on the CIA's image. The public's trust in the agency was deeply shaken, and questions about accountability and oversight continued to loom large. The revelations of the hearings underscored the need for vigilance in maintaining the balance between security and liberty. The lingering distrust born from this period continues to influence perceptions of the CIA, a reminder of the dangers inherent in unchecked power, reforms, and impact. In the wake of the Church Committee's findings, significant reforms were implemented to increase oversight and accountability within the CIA. These changes aim to prevent future abuses and restore public confidence. However, the impact of the hearings extends beyond the immediate reforms. They serve as a crucial historical lesson about the importance of transparency and the need to guard against the excesses of power. The Church Committee hearings remain a touchstone in the ongoing struggle to balance security with the preservation of democratic values. Number 5. Operation Condor. A web of state terror, 1970s-1980s. Supporting dictators. During the tumultuous Cold War era, the CIA found willing allies in right-wing dictatorships across South America. These regimes, eager to stamp out leftist movements, were natural partners for Operation Condor. This clandestine network facilitated the exchange of intelligence, coordinated assassination campaigns, and ensured that opposition figures were ruthlessly targeted. The collaboration with these dictatorships underscored the CIA's willingness to engage in morally dubious alliances to further its anti-communist agenda. Dirty War. Argentina's Dirty War stands as one of the most egregious examples of Operation Condor's brutality. The US-backed military junta launched a campaign of terror against perceived dissidents. Thousands were disappeared, tortured, or extrajudicially murdered. The climate of fear and repression cast a long shadow over Argentine society, leaving deep scars that persist to this day. The CIA's support for the junta highlighted the ethical compromises made in the name of geopolitical strategy. International outcry. The human rights violations perpetrated under Operation Condor eventually drew international condemnation. Reports of torture, assassinations, and other atrocities could no longer be ignored. The CIA's involvement in supporting these regimes became a focal point for criticism, raising questions about the US's commitment to human rights. The international outcry highlighted the stark contrast between the ideals espoused by American foreign policy and the grim realities of covert operations. Declassified documents. The release of declassified documents has provided a clearer picture of the CIA's role in Operation Condor. These documents reveal the extent of the agency's involvement, from logistical support to direct participation in planning and execution. The revelations have sparked renewed debate about the ethical implications of such actions and the broader consequences of US foreign policy during the Cold War. The declassified records serve as a sobering reminder of the dark chapters in the CIA's history. Number 6. Contra Affair. Funding rebels gone wrong 1980s. Supporting the Contras. During the turbulent years of the Nicaraguan Revolution, the CIA saw an opportunity to strike against the Sandinista government by supporting the Contra rebels. These rebels, though often lacking in popular support and known for committing human rights abuses, received funds, weapons, and training from the CIA. The agency's involvement was an attempt to curb the spread of communism in Central America, but it came at a high moral and ethical cost. Iran-Contra scandal. The Contra affair took a darker turn with the revelation of the Iran-Contra scandal. The CIA was implicated in a complex and illegal scheme where funds from secret arms sales to Iran were diverted to support the Contras. This scandal exposed a pattern of deception within the Reagan administration, highlighting the lengths to which officials would go to circumvent congressional prohibitions on aid to the rebels. The Iran-Contra affair became a symbol of the duplicity and recklessness that can accompany covert operations. Public disillusionment. The scandal had a profound impact on public trust in the government. The revelations of illegal activities and cover-ups eroded confidence in the CIA and the broader intelligence community. Congressional investigations were launched, and reforms were enacted to increase oversight and accountability. However, the damage to public perception was significant, leaving many questioning the integrity of those in power. The Contra affair remains a controversial chapter in U.S. history, a stark reminder of the perils of unchecked covert action. Lingering legacy. The legacy of the Contra affair continues to be felt in U.S. foreign policy. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of circumventing legal and ethical boundaries in the pursuit of geopolitical goals. The scandal underscored the importance of transparency and oversight, lessons that resonate in today's complex and often opaque world of intelligence operations. The Contra affair's lingering legacy is one of mistrust and a call for vigilance in safeguarding democratic principles. Number 7. The War on Terror. Enhanced Interrogation Techniques 2001 present. Post 9/11. In the aftermath of the September 11th attacks, the CIA was thrust into the forefront of the war on terror. Faced with an urgent need to extract intelligence from suspected terrorists, the agency turned to enhanced interrogation techniques, methods widely regarded as torture. These techniques, including waterboarding and sleep deprivation, were employed in the hopes of preventing future attacks. However, their use sparked intense debate and controversy. Torture debates. The use of enhanced interrogation techniques ignited a fierce debate over their legality and morality. Critics argued that these methods violated international law and undermined the very values the U.S. claimed to defend. Proponents contended that they were necessary to protect national security. The debate extended beyond the confines of legal arguments, touching on fundamental questions about human rights and the ethical limits of intelligence work. The legacy of these debates continues to shape discussions about the balance between security and liberty. Senate Report. The 2014 Senate Intelligence Committee report delivered a scathing assessment of the CIA's use of torture. The report concluded that these techniques were neither effective nor reliable in producing actionable intelligence. It also detailed instances of brutality and deception, painting a grim picture of an agency willing to cross ethical lines. The release of the report added fuel to the already intense public and political discourse, calling into question the accountability and oversight of the intelligence community. Legacy of abuse. The use of torture during the War on Terror has left a lasting stain on the CIA's reputation. The revelations of abuse have damaged its credibility on the world stage, complicating diplomatic efforts and straining alliances. The legacy of these actions continues to haunt the agency, raising questions about its commitment to human rights and ethical conduct. The shadow of the War on Terror's darker moments serves as a reminder of the high stakes and profound consequences of intelligence work in the modern era. Number 8. Drone warfare. A controversial tool 2002 present. Targeted strikes. In the ongoing fight against terrorism, the CIA has increasingly relied on drone strikes to target high-level terrorist operatives. These strikes, conducted primarily in the Middle East and Africa, are seen as a precise and effective tool for eliminating threats. However, the reality is far more complex. The secretive nature of the drone program and the often sparse intelligence guiding these operations raise significant ethical and legal questions. Civilian casualties. One of the most contentious aspects of drone warfare is the collateral damage inflicted on civilian populations. Despite efforts to minimize civilian casualties, reports of unintended deaths and injuries are common. These incidents fuel local resentment and anti-American sentiment, complicating efforts to combat terrorism. The ethical implications of drone strikes are profound, challenging the notion of proportionality and just warfare in the context of modern conflict. Legal black hole. The legal framework governing drone strikes is murky at best. The targeted killing of us citizens outside of traditional war zones has sparked intense legal debates. Critics argue that these actions violate constitutional rights and international law, while proponents claim they are necessary for national security. The lack of transparency surrounding the drone program only exacerbates these concerns, creating a legal black hole that undermines accountability. And that's it from this video. See you in the next one.